Hello everyone, so we're doing something a bit different today. We're looking at both Europe and the USA for Christmas weather. So today I'm using the ECM model for Europe and the GFS model for the USA. I'm just gonna run them out as far as I can for both continents and models, and you'll see what they're showing for Christmas and New Year. So starting off with Europe and the ECM model, because the ECM is the European model. So starting off today, Saturday the 16th of December, we see a large area of high pressure over France, Germany, off into Central Europe and into parts of the southeast as well. And around it comes a very mild southwesterly winds into Ireland, the UK, Denmark, Low Countries, off into Poland, and also into the Baltic Sea states. In Scandinavia, we see rain and winds, and under this big high pressure over Europe, it's technically a mild ridge, but under the ridge we have clear blue skies, and therefore at nights the heat very quickly radiates into space. So we have an inversion where we have mild air aloft, but very cold air on the surface, and therefore it's frosty with sunshine by day. Also, possibly a few showers and thunderstorms with this trough into parts of Italy and the Balkans and Greece and so on, and also into the Med. Going forwards, you can see that this big European high basically sits there into tomorrow, Sunday, into Monday as well. Again, frosts are likely with clear blue skies and sunshine over again up into Ireland, UK, Low Countries, Denmark, and into the Baltic Sea states, and there, and also into Scandinavia is constantly wet. Obviously, it's coldest in Norway, Sweden, Finland, that sort of area, with some northerly or northwesterly winds at times. These will bring snowfall, especially over high ground, but definitely not exclusively so. Definitely a lot of snow there already so far this year. So basically, it's really three sections until Tuesday. Big high over Central and Southern Europe, and then this westerly zone through the Central and Northern regions, while in the far north we're seeing colder conditions with, and that's where the centres of the lows are passing over. Into Wednesday and Thursday, next week, we see the cold air come southwards, actually. So most of Scandinavia and also into parts of Northern Europe are looking cold by then, and the cold air plunges into Eastern Europe as well, with that deep trough over the Baltic Sea. We try and get the cold air also into Ireland and the UK, but that is very much on a knife edge. It depends on how far west this ridge goes. And we end up on Boxing Day with cold air coming out of the Arctic into Western Europe. We're trying to anyway. It's getting as far south as Ireland and the UK. For the east, we've cold air entrenched over Scandinavia, Russia, also possibly down towards Poland and the Baltic Sea. The upper forecast is like this. So again, today, Saturday, mild air in the west of Europe. Probably quite cold and frosty though in France and Germany and so on, despite those mild temperatures aloft. The mild air aloft anyway, it spreads eastwards over Europe. However, under clear skies at night, it'd be frosty and cold. But by day, temperatures probably into the high single figures towards 10 degrees, or even above that in sunshine. Scandinavia stays cool but not really cold until we get towards Wednesday and Thursday next week, when the -5 ice dome forms there, tries to come south. So we see cooler air over much of Central Europe there into Friday of next week. Again, mild air stays on in mostly in the southern half of the continent, and into Christmas Day on this ECM run, we have deep cold pull over Scandinavia down into northern Germany, Poland, Ukraine, Baltic Sea states, and into Russia. We have cold air trying to come into Ireland and the UK, while milder is elsewhere. Into Boxing Day again, the cold air again coming out of Greenland, Iceland. Again, colder in these northern and eastern parts of Europe. Otherwise, it's mild. But if it's calm enough, possibly with frost in a few areas. That says ECM run. Here's a GFS for the USA. Here it is. So today, Saturday in the USA, we have this ridge in the west. That is a mild ridge, yes. A few cooler pockets there, but on the surface, that is a very frosty and cold ridge. It is mild on the west coast, though. A little cooler slot through the Great Plains before we see this mild ridge again in the east of the USA. Going forward, we see a deep trough of cold air with a cyclone over Canada. This mainly stays away, though a cold shot will come down into the Midwest on Monday. Upper temperatures with that are very cold, actually. It brings up the -15 ice dome southwards, so that is a cold plunge. For the west, it's staying mild, and it seems like we're seeing some low pressure with rain coming in off the Pacific into western states. Again, that ridge through the Great Plains and the Rockies, keeping it dry and probably cold by night, but quite mild by day. This cold plunge moves into eastern states on Tuesday. This ridge forms in the Midwest and over parts of some southern states by Tuesday as well. That calms things down and tries to turn it slightly milder as well by day. Into next Thursday, we see just generally quite high pressure in many areas, especially in the east. Mildest weather, I think, coming up into the Midwest and the Great Plains around the ridge. Again, there's a low threatening some rain to areas like California on Friday the 22nd of December. Then into the final weekend pre-Christmas, we have very slack gradients over the USA. So I think lowest pressure in the west, so greatest risk of precip is in the west, while eastern areas are drier. There's a cold plunge over Canada, but I think it is getting into the far northeast, but otherwise it's not really influencing many areas. Let's see what happens then. So again, we're seeing a slight cooler plunge, I think, here on Boxing Day into the Great Plains as well. Beyond that, we see a deep low coming in off the Pacific on the 28th on the 28th of December. Further south, we see some mild weather and westerly winds coming in as some heights rise over the Gulf of Mexico. And beyond that, towards New Year, we see a low forming there over Texas and moving northwards towards the east coast. Could that be a winter storm to watch? Could it be that? A large ridge takes place over western states on New Year's Day, and that calms things down widely. Intense ridge, that is. Cold air trying to come into the Midwest and Northeast, but generally it's cold by night and mild by day on New Year's Day on this GFS run. So the upper temperatures with this, get rid of this, add, and go back to the start. So here we go again. We have mild temperatures in the west and south, but again, the western states will face frosty nights, I think. Also in the south, if it's calm enough and clear enough. Then we see this cold plunge, as I said, into the Midwest into Monday, and this transfers into eastern areas on Tuesday before it clears away. Then it's generally mild, actually very warm for a time in parts of the southern Great Plains into Mexico as well. It's generally very mild, really, be after that slight cold plunge next week into the eastern areas. But still cold by nights, obviously. Okay, guys, quite a nice week, I'd say, with a lot of sunshine. That cold plunge misses the USA pretty much. I think it actually gets into parts of the northeast. Otherwise, that's a miss. Let's see what happens here. So very mild scenario here. Cooler air possibly into the northwest by the 28th of December here. Really warm actually in the south there. That winter storm there, I think that would bring a dumping of snow because there is some cold air on its western and northern sides. So that is one to watch. If it keeps coming up, that is definitely one to watch. And that does actually bring colder air from Canada southwards to many areas of the Midwest, East, and Southeast. It also cools down slightly in the West. So on New Year's Day, many areas of the USA are a lot cooler by then. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully this was informative and useful, and we'll do this on quite a regular basis until New Year's, I'd say. So again, thanks for watching, and see you next time.